Hi, I'm Madonna.
I'm your worst nightmare.
To rule the world.
Why don't you show them what you do, honey?
You've never had more fun with anyone else.
People, we gotta move on to the next song.
I'm sweet and I'm a bitch, you know what I mean? And that's always been the way it is. I'm a human being.
I'm waiting.
Hi, this is Marlyn Ortiz, and you're listening to MLVC, the Madonna podcast.
Hey guys, it's Tony. Welcome to MLVC.
And hey everybody, it's Stefan. Thanks for joining us for another episode of MLVC, the Madonna podcast, your place for all things Madonna, Louise, Veronica, Ciccone. We are very happy to welcome a special guest on the podcast today, dancer, aerialist, choreographer, and Madonna's very own personal trainer, Marlyn Ortiz. Marlyn, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Yay. Thank
Hey
you for having
Marlyn,
me.
how are you? Oh,
I'm
it's our
good.
pleasure.
I'm good. I'm a little sweaty right now, but I'm good.
How is LA these days? It's crazy.
It's
There's
hot.
wildfires.
It's really
There's
Yeah. There's a
record
lot of that.
temperatures. The pandemic. It's crazy days.
Everything's chaotic, but no, it's all good. I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
Good, yeah, and you know, we noticed that you had a bit of a holiday last weekend, you know, so I'm glad that you were able to get away.
Yeah, it was nice. It was Jamaica, man.
Yes, and to celebrate our queen's birthday, I had heard that she was going to be in Jamaica, and I hopped on the F train out to Jamaica Queens, thinking that that's where the celebration would be. And,
Stop it!
To my surprise, she was not there.
No, she was not there. She was not getting on no train. No, it was really beautiful. It was very chill. Obviously, you know, we're in COVID, so there wasn't a lot of crazy things going on. It was nice and chill and peaceful, and beautiful beaches, and you know, hot, sweaty weather. It was good.
And you got a haircut.
I chopped my hair off. Yeah, Andy Lacombe, the amazing Andy Lacombe.
Looks beautiful.
Cut my hair. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. I loved it. I
Thank
was like,
you.
when you premiered it on your Instagram, I was like, oh, look at her.
Well, I cut it in London, like a little bit, like shoulder length, and then Andy was like, let's go a little shorter, and I was like, okay, let's go shorter. So he just chopped it off in Jamaica. It was great.
It looks really good, but I have to make a confession. I was actually looking at all the food you guys were eating over there because it looked amazing.
Oh, yeah. A lot of jerk chicken wings, honey. A lot of jerk chicken wings.
Yeah, I also saw that you recently purchased some dance shoes, and I got to say, bless your heart for being able to dance in heels.
Oh, honey, thank you. But my back was hurting after just trying them on. So yeah, so I bought. There's this really great dance heel company here in LA. A lot of dancers use it. Jennifer Lopez uses their shoes. Britney, like a lot of celebrities, but the shoes are really great, and they're just comfortable enough where you feel stable on stage. So I'm gonna start doing online dance classes.
Nice.
Like short little like clips of dance choreography, where you know people or fans could learn certain types of choreography, heels class. So I was like, okay, all of my stuff is basically in storage, so I basically had to like go and buy myself new pairs of shoes, but it was fun. So,
well, yeah, because I assume dancing in heels is a completely different experience than dancing in like flats.
Sneakers. Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, it's harder. You have to do more balance. It's tougher on your body, on your back, on your calves, on your toes. I mean, it's torture, but it's worth it sometimes.
It looks good. You gotta suffer for the art sometimes.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Before we get carried away, I would love to introduce Marlyn,
Properly.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for. So I wanted to give our listeners a bit of background on Marlyn Ortiz. She was born in Puerto Rico, and now she's a native New Yorker living in Los Angeles. There's lots of people out there like that. Marlyn has excelled as a dancer, aerialist, choreographer on stage, television, print. Her credits include world tours with Taylor Swift, Black Eyed Peas, Usher, Jennifer Lopez, Britney Spears, Mariah Carey, of course, Madonna. She's appeared on Broadway and off-Broadway productions, including the Disney production of Tarzan, which I saw, and people were flying.
Guarda.
Della Guarda and Fuerza Bruta, which I also saw, and people
Yes,
were
I've seen
also
those.
flying.
Those were crazy shows.
Amazing shows.
Yeah, she choreographed John Leguizamo in his one-man Broadway show, Ghetto Clown, and she's also shared her skills and experience teaching and choreographing dance workshops all over the world and virtually as of the last couple months.
Mm-hmm. And I also
Welcome.
have thank you. But wait, you forgot one important thing. I don't think it's on my bio. I should add that. But it's, I created and produced my own burlesque show called Bumble Burlesque.
Yes, girl, I got it.
Yeah,
I got it down. I was going to bring it up and make a whole new thread of questions about it. But because I'm a big burlesque fan, so I've got some questions for you. So.
Awesome. Yeah.
So you've been a trained dancer for 20 years, dancing for some of really huge names in the music industry. What led you to become a dancer?
So I when I was like 11, 12 years old, I always wanted to like do something and perform. I wanted to be a gymnast when I was a kid, but that wasn't going to happen. My parents had no money. And then when I was around 10 years old, I had this, I wanted to like perform, like my body wanted to like do something. I had energy. And I met a kid, Anthony Rodriguez, which you guys probably know. He did Drowned World Tour. He was the flamenco dancer.
Yeah.
Anthony and I grew up together. He's my best friend. And,
wow.
Yeah. So Anthony and I went to the same church in the Bronx, and one thing led to the other. He was already performing as a kid. He went to dance schools from the age of 5 years old. So by the time we were 12, I met him in church, and he used to put on these productions in church because his father was a deacon. And one day I was there, and like there was an event, and he saw me dancing, and he basically just like took me under his wing, and we became best friends. And he started to like do all these little performances in church and would include me. And that was like my introduction to dance through Anthony. He was my mentor and guided me and taught me things that I didn't know, because I couldn't go out. My parents had no money. They were super strict. So there was no going to a dance school. Like that was not really.
Well, they're expensive. Classes are expensive.
Yeah, exactly. And I eventually joined Kids Bay Boys and Girls Club, which was also in the Bronx, which is where Jennifer Lopez went as well. It's like the same area. But prior to that, Anthony just kind of taught me everything and guided me and inspired me to be a dancer and made me feel like I could do this. And then I decided that's what I wanted to do. I went to high school for dance. I went to Julia Richmond High School in Manhattan. And then I went to SUNY Purchase. It's a performing arts university in New York for dance. I went to the Graham School, the Martha Graham School. And then I got my other house urban training, just being at the clubs in New York, Sound Factory, Limelight, all that stuff. I did
the good old days.
The good old days, exactly. So that's kind of like how everything started in church with Anthony. And what was really wonderful is that we inspired. It was like a group of teenage kids who just inspired each other to like be better and dance and be in the arts. And through those years, I learned how to dance to Madonna's music. Like I learned how to dance to all of that. That was like the 90s for me. I was 13 years old. So to then later on be able to actually be on tour with her and with my best friend Anthony was like you can't, like, how does that happen? It was like a miracle. So no, it's true. Like your best friend that taught you how to dance to all of Madonna's music and inspired you, eventually you two end up going on tour with her. That doesn't happen every fucking day.
Yeah.
So it was definitely like a blessing, and like the universe just literally like just took care of us. And I'm very grateful for him and for all the experiences. But that's basically how I started dancing. Church.
Wow. So, as we mentioned in your bio, you were in De La Guarda and Fuerza Bruta, which I've like with Tony both saw in New York City as well. Those are amazing, inspiring shows. How did you make a transition? Because that's not classic dancing. That's
no.
acrobatics and gymnastics. And how did you transition from dancing to that? and what was the training and rehearsal process for those? Because they're like up in the air.
Yeah, talk about multitasking.
So De La Guarda, first, it was De La Guarda was the first show. De La Guarda was a show created by these Argentinian performers. And it was half of them were dancers and half of them were actors. There were no gymnasts. So De La Guarda is a very like, it's physical theater. So it's like the raw version of what a Cirque du Soleil show would be. So you needed to be able to move your body and be physical, not flip or anything. So, we were trained, we came in, but what you needed in order to do De La Guarda or Fuerza Bruta was to be fearless, and you needed to have energy, and it was about your personality and fire. So it didn't matter if you were a gymnast or not. Most of the people that were in the show were dancers. So I just auditioned, and I just like showed off my personality. I remember my first audition. I had to they put a harness on me, and I had to run up and down a wall. And I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, you're going to be sideways. And I was like, oh, okay. But you have to understand that dancers can adapt really easily to any kind of physical activity. So for me, it wasn't that it was difficult. It was different. So what that show did for me, it literally enhanced and changed my life. So I wasn't just a trained dancer. I became an aerialist. I became this physical aerial creature, and it also allowed me to be very open, and it allowed you the freedom to express yourself, right? So De La Guarda was, I'm sure you guys, whoever saw it, you interact with the audience. You're there to create an experience for the audience. We weren't trained to do that. They hired you based on your personality because you have something to offer, So that what was wonderful about that show is that you could improvise. Yes, there's a structure to the show. Okay, you go from this section to that section. This is how we do this step and that step. But within that, it was just complete freedom of expression. And that was, I have to say, it's probably one of the best shows I've done in my entire life. De La Guarda changed my life. De La Guarda,
it was as a attendee, it was a life-changing experience for me. I had never sort of been immersed in a theater show in quite that way, and it was so all-encompassing that because people were moving you around from different corner to different corner, and it was happening around you, above you, next
it was
to you.
Real immersive. It was the beginning of immersive theater. It was immersive physical theater, and that wasn't happening. I mean, eventually it blew up later on with other companies and other groups, but De La Guarda was really the starter of that. And so imagine what you felt, because I know people that have gone to the show 5-6 times. They went back. It was a natural high. So imagine you seeing it. Imagine us being in it. It was a natural ecstasy. It was like you were high on life. The minute the lights went out, and then the sounds would start. It was like an outer body experience from beginning to end. The show was only an hour long, but within that hour, you gave all of yourself, and they were, I've never been so happy. There were days where I was exhausted. We were doing 8 shows a week, and my body, I was like, oh my God. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired. How am I going to get through the show today? And the minute you put on that harness, you get ready, you come together as a company. We would always come together in the dressing room, hold hands, and do a chant, Namyo Horenge Kyo chant, the entire company. And that was our moment to come together, get our thoughts in the circle, focus on what we're about to do and what kind of experience we're about to give the audience. But also it allowed us to connect to ourselves, to our track, what we were going to do in the show, and be safe. Because the thing with that, it looks all wild and crazy, but we had to be so careful. I mean, you could die.
Oh yeah.
If you didn't clip in properly, if you didn't do certain things properly, you could really get injured. So, not only was it a way to be completely free and express yourself, but it was also a way to be so connected and focused. There was no time for error.
So Marlene, how was the transition from De La Guarda to Fuerza Bruta? Because they're similar, but they're also complete polar opposites,
It wasn't it wasn't that big of a difference.
Mhm.
The cool thing that happened after De La Guarda is that I was, still dancing. After that, I would do dance jobs and go back to De La Guarda, then do dance jobs and go back. So,
Mhm.
I didn't stop. They both supported each other. They made me stronger. The
Yeah.
elements of De La Guarda, the freedom that I had on that platform allowed me to give more in my dance career, and vice versa. So,
Mhm.
when I actually went from Tarzan, which was bungee work,
Mhm.
so the two creators of De La Guarda, Dickie James and Pichon, they split. Pichon went on to do Tarzan. Dickie James went on to do Fuerza Bruta. So there were two different shows. So I got hired to do
Hey.
Tarzan. I got hired to do both. Hi, yes, hello, and very grateful for that. So I did Tarzan, and it was bungee work and physical theater, but also kind of singing and dancing and a little bit of
Mhm.
everything. So my transition from Tarzan to Forza wasn't that hard. It just went from
Right.
bungee harness work to more aerial work and
Yeah.
stuff. It wasn't a big change. It was fine. So,
Fuerza Bruta was insane. I always felt like you guys were gonna fall on me, and
oh yeah, in the pool, yeah. Oh my
yeah.
God, there is nothing more satisfying than
Mhm.
running and throwing your body on that plastic mylar. I mean, I
Oh
can't
my god.
explain it. It's just amazing. Did you ever go to
Yeah,
game night?
I
We
thought
had
you were coming. I think I was there for gay night. Yes, I think it was like, or it was boys' night or something.
boys' night. Yeah,
And
yeah. It was like one
yeah,
girl and three boys.
yeah, and
Yeah,
yeah, it was hot. I gotta say,
basically
it
a
was.
gang rape. It was basically a gang rape. No,
Yeah.
no, not really, but no, yeah, yeah. Fuerza Bruta was amazing, but the transition it wasn't that big of a difference, really. I was already, Mike, I had already been doing so much at that point, and
Mhm.
it was just second nature for me. I didn't think about it. It was just like, oh, okay, now we're running on treadmills. Okay, oh, this time we're going to be in a pool. All right, I didn't
You
see it
took it
as
as they
like,
threw it at you.
yeah, and they threw it at me. I was like, I got this. I got this. Let's go. You know, I wasn't
Okay.
intimidated by it. I just wanted to conquer it and show that I could do it. And also the directors already knew that I could do it. So I just had to, stand out more
Mhm.
than everyone else to make sure I booked the job,
Well, speaking of standing out, I want to hear about your burlesque project called Bumble Burlesque. I'm a big fan of burlesque. Even before Pussycat Dolls in the early '90s.
Hmm.
Just like there's this whole art form, and
Hmm.
I want to know, um, you know, you have so many different disciplines. As an athlete, as a dancer, as a performer, as an actress. So how did this all come together, and what is the message that you want to send out with Bumble Burlesque, and what can we expect when we see the show?
Okay. You might have to remind me of some of the questions. It's like three questions.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll tell you how it all kind of, so I used to work when I moved to LA and I was working as a dancer on my
Mhm.
in between time when I was just going on castings and auditions and stuff like that, or when I came back from the tour. I started working at 40 Deuce, Ivan Kane's 40 Deuce here
Right.
in Los
That's
Angeles.
where PCD started as a burlesque troupe, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I started no, I think they did Pussycat Dolls did their own thing. Pussycat Dolls was Pussycat Dolls. It was separate, I
Oh, okay.
believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Okay.
40
I
Deuce was
understand
a
that.
little bit different. They had similar. They were coming up at the same time.
Got
Ivan,
it. Got it.
yeah. So Ivan Kane he owned several bars in LA. So one of his bars, he turned it into like a cabaret burlesque bar, and I would work there like a few times during the week when I would be in town, or I
Mhm.
was sub. So it was kind of like a fun part-time little gig, and that's how I started to just get myself really. I was really comfortable in my body, but that allowed me to be a little bit more open,
Mhm.
and be more feminine or sexy, embody my femininity. So
Sensual.
be sensual, exact sex, yeah, sensual, tasteful, and a slut. I'm kidding. No,
Mhm.
and a sensual slut. So, yeah, so I kind of did that on and off, and it was fun. And then when I years later, when I moved back to New York to work with Madonna, just as a trainer and Hard Candy Fitness, I realized that I was not going to be able to go on. I was not going on castings anymore. This was becoming more of my full-time job, right?
Yeah.
It was like my transition. And so a few times out of the week, I would sub in Fuerza Bruta because I left Fuerza Bruta to go on tour with Black Eyed Peas. And then I came back to the show just as a sub. So when I went back to New York, I was doing Fuerza Bruta and I was working with Madonna. So it was just like, I was still performing, right? Keeping that part of myself alive while doing fitness. And one day my friend was like, hey, I have a party Saturday night. I need a performance. Like, can you do something? And I was like, oh yeah, I could do burlesque or something, something easy and quick. So it literally was just like out of nowhere. I was like, you know what? Why don't I just start doing more burlesque and start like recreating a brand here for myself? So that's when me and one of my best friends, Manny Emmanuel Hernandez, we decided to do Bumble Burlesque. And it came out of the need to perform, the desire to continue performing. So I didn't want to stop dancing and performing and doing what I love to do, for fitness, even though I love fitness and I love exercising, but my passion is always, I'm an artist,
Yeah.
So I basically decided to do Bumble Burlesque, and I hired like professional dancers, and my friend and I started to like choreograph and put together shows and, network and try to get venues and produce and make costumes and bedazzle this and glue on that and sew on this. It became a whole production.
Fire up that hot glue gun.
Honey,
No, that's what I was going to bring up. Yeah.
What?
No, what I was going to bring up is that, two of the most important things in a burlesque show are the costumes and the music that you present, because it always has to be different. You can't repeat yourself in burlesque. Otherwise, people will call you out on it, right?
Yeah. Well, the thing was in New York that what I wanted to do different in New York is that I didn't want to do our typical burlesque. Like, I didn't want to do like, okay, just I take off my clothes and I look sexy. No, I wanted it to be more cabaret. I'm inspired by what I did in 40 Dudes. Like, Ivan Kane only hired professional dancers. So I only wanted professional dancers. I didn't want just a girl that likes to take off her clothes who has a nice body. No, that's not enough for me, because what I want to incorporate is choreography, elements of like theater. And at the same time, everyone gets a solo and gets to present themselves and their personality. So, we had to come up with like a layout, a plan of what kind of show we were going to put on. And for me, the focus was to, obviously have clean line, talented dancers that had amazing personality. But at the same time, keep it very tasteful. I didn't want it to be just, some girl taking off her clothes and her titties are out. Like, I didn't want that.
No.
I wanted to have, I wanted it to be a little bit classier. And I wanted to celebrate the woman's body and the personality and being sexy doesn't mean it's dirty. Being, showing your ass, your tits, shaking your body is not necessarily like, it shouldn't be looked as like a negative thing. So that was kind of like our main focus. And what I realized with that was that I had all these friends that needed it in their life. It became like a need. Like, women needed to feel empowered. Women needed to feel connected to their bodies again. And I have a lot of friends in the who are singers and dancers, and there were friends that would message me like, hey, let me know if you ever need anyone for the show. And I realized that they needed me as much as I needed them. Like, I have a friend that two friends who went through some serious breakups, and they were feeling very insecure. One was a singer, one was a dancer. I put him in the show, and what came out of them was amazing. The fire, the freedom that they got out of just like accepting their bodies and performing was out of control. So I realized that it wasn't just about putting on a show. This was something that empowered us, that kept us lifted, and made us feel positive about ourselves, especially, when during hard times. So
Yeah.
I love that my show was able to do that for a lot of my friends. And producing is a pain in the fucking ass sometimes. Sewing
Yeah.
shit, different fucking dancers. I can't do this. I can't do that. Oh, I can't do that show.
It's
It
a
was
hustle.
dramatic. It was dramatic. And right now, obviously, we can't do it because of COVID.
Mhm.
But it's still there. It's still there. I love it. It's an extension of myself. I would love to make it a bigger production. Incorporate aerial and other things, but I need an investor for that in a theater. So,
Mhm.
it was kind of very like dance, crazy horse inspired,
Oh, I love
but
that.
not,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I for one can't wait to see Bumble Burlesque live when we are all allowed to see it
Get back out
live.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Follow me on Instagram, Bumble Burlesque. Hello.
Hmm. Okay, Marlene. I'm
Yes.
a proud Latino, and I am obsessed with seeing myself represented, visually, musically, in all kinds of performance. And I think it's so important that we, show our people that, we are out there and we're not going anywhere. So tell me, how important is it for you to, put some of yourself and, your, just what makes us Latin, into your work as far as like choreography and, have you?
Well,
Go
for
ahead.
instance, for Bumble Burlesque, we're a very Latin inspired show. We have a lot of choreography pieces that are Latin music. Like we'll have Fever by La Lupe.
La Lupe, yes.
I'll have like my solos. I have solos, Latin solos. So I do Oye Como Va. I do Esto La Voz, Que Lío. So I do a blend of music, like slow to fast. And I like to incorporate Latin rhythms because one, that's going to make my show different from everybody else's. So,
Exactly.
And two, I'm Latina. So I want to, live in that. I am grateful for being born a Latina. I'm grateful for having culture. I'm grateful for all of the things that come with it, and I think being in the arts and having this platform, I want to celebrate it in whatever way I can. So
I mean, I've never seen or heard of a burlesque troupe that had a Latin edge to it. So this is already very unique and very exciting.
Yeah.
And have you been able to perform in Puerto Rico or other parts of Latin America?
No, I haven't been able to perform. Oh, I think I did perform in Puerto Rico once, like years ago. I forgot. I think it was a real to real. I don't even know when. But no, in Puerto Rico, not really, because especially the Rebel Heart tour, I wasn't dancing on it, so I didn't. And we went to Puerto Rico.
Right.
No, I was just training. No, I mean other Latin American countries, yeah. Like I've done shows in Colombia. We've done shows in Brazil. We've done shows in where else did we go? Chile, Argentina. Yeah. I mean,
No,
there's
I think
definitely a different type of energy with Latinos, and also like in Spain.
I mean, because how important it is, because I grew up in Texas and in the 80s and 90s, and I didn't really see myself represented on stage or on TV, so I think it's so important for, Latin boys and girls to look up on stage and see themselves and see the possibility that's out there, and there's nothing stopping us,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it's been changing for a while now, but it's still not enough,
Not enough, yeah.
But I mean, I think it's also every Latino's responsibility, but that it depends on how you were raised, like to be grateful or proud or to promote that. But if you're raised in a household that didn't teach you Spanish and you don't really know who you are and you're super Americanized, you're not going to really support that, even though your last name is Garcia. So
exactly.
There's also like that confusion. You can't blame them for not doing it.
Mm-mm.
It's like, well, I didn't grow up like that. So what do you want me to represent? You know? So there's the
Yeah.
other side to it. No, it's true. It's fucked up.
It is true. Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, like growing up in Texas, there were people that looked exactly like me and they wouldn't speak a word of Spanish or even acknowledge, the culture. And I move up to New York and everyone is just so Latino and I just love it so much.
Yeah.
There's none of that,
Oh,
self-loathing.
in New York,
And,
yeah. There's none of, New York is
yeah.
a different ball game, and you kind of have
Yeah.
to.
So, yeah. And to a certain degree too, also Los Angeles is, it's a different sensibility, but it's still, we still have a big presence out there. And I think it's important for kids to see this in art and to see it in culture,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious, Marlene, how did you make the transition from dancer to fitness trainer? I mean, obviously the work you're doing in some of the shows you're going to have to be fit, but how did you start taking on teaching other people how to be fit and training people?
Well, I got a call from Madonna's manager, and they were looking for other people to come and join Hard Candy Fitness, and they needed another trainer. At the time, I believe Nicole was still training
Mm-hmm.
Madonna, and she usually has 2 trainers with her. So they called me. They were like, "What are you doing? Are you touring? Are you working right now?" And I had just finished the Taylor Swift tour, Speak Now. And I was just back in LA, going on castings, trying to figure out the next gig. And they called me and I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll give it a go." And I went to New York and, I worked out with M for like a week. And then we did some hard candy stuff. And then they were like, "Yeah, M wants you to come on." I was like, "Great." So I just basically relocated, moved to New York, back home, because New York is home for me. So it wasn't a big transition. And I've been there ever since. And that was my transition, literally. And then from there, I just started training other people. I was still performing, like I said, with Fuerza Bruta and Bumble Burlesque and creating my own. I had my own night because during my days, I wasn't able to really do much, go on castings, but my evenings became my performance space. So, and then from there, started training other people. I worked for Soul Cycle for like 5 minutes. And, that's kind of like how everything just shifted.
Yeah, I was disappointed we didn't get a Hard Candy Fitness in New York. I know the fitness industry is a very competitive beast, but I'd gone to Italy and passed by the one that they had in Rome, and I was so excited. I was like, "Oh my God, it's Hard Candy Fitness!"
I know. I kind of wish they would have done. I think Hard Candy would have done well in New York. I don't know why, but yeah, it's done.
Well, so I was ecstatic when they brought the Hard Candy Fitness classes to Broadway Dance Center back in 2015 and loved them. I was so happy that they were a mixture of like high intensity workouts with choreography as well.
Yeah.
So it was like you did like a half an hour of like warm up and then you would do the choreography. And I'm like, those classes would kick my ass. And I was,
because we do the stamina. It's crazy.
Yeah. What part did you have in helping bring those classes to life? Was that part of what you were doing when you were brought on?
We were brought on. We were creating master classes, like dance cardio classes for the gyms. There was a team of like 4 people, and we would work together and, come up with new choreography, film it, tape it, and then it would get launched out to all the gyms so they could start teaching it in their dance cardio classes. And then we would go out and train the instructors in whatever modality or dance cardio was going to be taught. So that's that. So we were like the core team that was like attached to M, that then went out and spread their energy to the gyms. That's kind of like how it was.
Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah.
And they're still around, right? The Hard Candy Fitness gyms are still around?
Not all of them. I think maybe Mexico or so. I don't really know. To be honest, no. It kind of all just died out. Yeah. So it's not really. I think some gyms might still be open, but we're no longer like working along with them like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you've trained one of the most legendary pop artists in the world, How has Madonna's work ethic helped inspire you in your training career?
Basically, she's, you know what, I've learned from her, I've learned to really pay attention to details, because she's all about details. I've always been motivated. I've always had a hustle behind me. Like the hustle energy has always been part of me.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons why I respect her so much and look up to her is because she has that same drive. So she's a constant reminder of that. And you know, she works hard, you know, as an artist. When she has an idea, when she wants to do something, she really, really goes 100%. And it was funny when I was creating Bumble Burlesque and I was like rehearsing with the dancers and, you know, creating the costumes and, you know, teaching them how to, like, I had to train these girls how to do burlesque. You know, we would have burlesque rehearsals. Like, I had to teach them how to take off their clothes because a lot of them were, you could dance, but, you know, stripping is a whole different thing. You have to be sensual. You have to tease. Like, learning how to tease is a whole nother thing. So, and learning how to tease to music, timing, tempo. So I realized when I was doing that, I kept going back to like all of my years in my career, you know, all the things that I learned as a dancer and performer in theater. And then I also remembered, you know, how M it was. And I kept thinking back to all the details. No, do it like this. You know, my experiences and watching her work gave me, just educated me a little bit more on how I wanted things. But it's funny because I didn't even catch myself in the moment. I realized that I was like looking at things from a different perspective and asking for different things from the dancers. No, that's not working. But not realizing that, oh my God, I've taken on this like I'm M. I'm like, but I'm not. Like, you know, it's just like it kind of like just transitioned into me. It was like I absorbed that energy once I was put in that position to create. And it's awesome. It was awesome thing to know that I have that, to, you know. And so so I think, you know, that she's inspired me in that way. You know, I respect that work ethic that she has. A lot of artists, not a lot of artists have it, but there's a few that have it, and she's definitely one of them. You know, right nowadays people just like throw something on and then they go. There's no rehearsals. There's no process. There's no creative
Not Madonna.
process. And you know, I feel like that's what makes her the way she is, but that's what makes an artist the way they are. You know, paying attention to details, and there's a few of them out there. You know. Yeah. So, yeah.
So our listeners might not be planning to do a world tour anytime soon, but what's the best way to get in shape for those type of activities? What would, like before you were going on Drowned World Tour, how were you training yourself to prepare for that monstrosity of a show?
Endurance.
Well, I was doing the Guarda. I was already in shape. So I was in the Guarda before Drowned World Tour. So I was already active, you know, doing physical theater. I was dancing, you know. So, but once I was on tour, my warm up consisted of, we would do ballet class, you know, with other dancers. We would do like a floor gram class. We would stretch every day. Like, we were pretty disciplined in warming up, you know, especially the dancers that were on that tour. They were all like talented, well-trained dancers that came from very strong backgrounds, like Ailey, or like a lot of studio dancers. Like we had Jamal, we had Christian Vincent, we had Addie, we had Kimba, Tamara, who was a gymnast. Like, you know, everybody had like strong backgrounds. So, you know, there was always a warm-up before, and you could do your own warm-up, or a lot of us would get together and warm up together.
I mean, that was a physically demanding show. I think it might be
Yeah.
probably her most physically demanding show.
It was really physical. Yeah. They're all physical. It just
They
all
are,
start
they
to get
are.
lost. Hello, you just forget one tour, then the next one. Oh wait, that was really physical, but no. Like,
Well, Marlene, she did fly in Drowned World.
yeah,
so,
she did fly. But Drowned World I'm sorry, Drowned World was dope. It was
Oh,
one
I
of my
love that
favorite
show.
tours.
It's one of my
beautiful.
favorite tours she's ever done. It's so good.
It's like a painting moving. It's like
Mhm.
it's so theatrical.
She
It's
sings in
great.
Spanish. That's all I needed.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing that show, and I had seen it like I think once in Philadelphia and twice in New York, and I just remembered I love watching it, the DVD of it, and because it's just the costumes are so on, and the music choices, and just like the sets and the cast of the troupe of dancers,
The
and
choreography. Oh my
it's
god.
just so wonderful to watch. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Reinvention was good too, okay?
Oh yeah.
No, absolutely.
I was like, I was in that one too.
Yeah, I mean, hey, the fact that you were in those two tours, that's amazing. To like, I mean, I worship both of those shows. I think they're amazing, and I mean, do you like? Are you sad when a tour like that's over, or are you just sort of like, okay, I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore?
No, it's sad. It's like a breakup.
Yeah.
It's a breakup.
Yeah, I'm sure it's because you spend all that time with a little family.
And break up from the people. Your body likes the break, but you emotionally are like, oh, like, what am I going to do now? This has been my life, for a year or so, including rehearsals. So it's emotionally you go through it. I mean, for like a few weeks and then you move on. But you know what? I'm still friends with with the dancers from Drowned and Reinvention. Like I'm still really close to a lot of people, which is great. I'm still close to Dawn. I'm still close to Paul, Jason, like, Kimba, all these people that we just never lost contact over the years.
So
yeah, it's like, but the check, you missed the check. The paycheck, the crowd, the high, the feeling you get when the audience just goes, there's nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you get it back on other tours. Like when I did Taylor Swift, it was the same. The freaking fans, Taylor Swift's fans are psycho. All those little girls, it was crazy.
Yeah, I had gone to what was it, Katy Perry's Witness tour, and that was like one of the first non-Madonna shows I'd seen in a long time, and the difference in audience because it was so many young girls at the show, and when those lights went out, the ear-piercing scream from all of those little girls, I was so shocked because I'm used to the guys and the deeper voices at a Madonna show. We're also an older audience because I mean, there's some young kids, but not like it was at Katy Perry.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. It was like when you watch those old videos of the Beatles, when the girls were just freaking out. I was like, that's what it was like.
Yes, exactly.
So because of lockdown, so many fitness trainers have been utilizing social media to help people keep in shape, including yourself. I know your Instagram live workouts, they're really fun, but they're also really tough. I sweated through a couple that you did recently. How did you have to evolve your training style for the current lockdown?
I haven't.
Or did you?
She's taking no mercy.
She's like, nope, bitches, this is what you're going to do.
To be honest, like, no, I do. I mean, obviously, I'm not really using equipment, so I've had to, adjust that a little bit. But the workout that I do live is actually my workout as well.
Oh.
Like, I'm not going to a gym. I'm not. So it's my own. So I use it as like my platform to train myself. I mean, I don't know if you see it, but I'm like full out and I don't stop and I'm exhausted and I'm sweating my balls off. I don't have balls, but if I had balls and it's also my workout. So I'm doing what I would do. I'm giving you what I would do. So are you coming along with me on this ride or not? And then there's days where I make it a little bit like more chill. But I'm not here to give you a soft workout. What's the point? We're here to sweat,
Mhm.
so let's sweat. You know what I mean? Also, you don't have to do the full hour. You could do 30 minutes, or maybe you just do like lower body or upper body, or my plank section or whatever it is. Um, so I, at first I was doing it 3 times a week, which was great. And then I had to like change it to twice a week. But again, it's my personal workout as well, and so I'm sharing that with y'all.
So
I,
hear that, everyone listening. If you want to look like Marlene, join her on her Instagram lives. She'll kick your butt, and
yeah,
you'll look fantastic.
right. Go to my Instagram. I post all the videos. I haven't done them in like a week and a half because I was away. So I'm going to
You've been
start again.
busy.
Yeah. So next week I'm going to start back up on Tuesday. So it's Tuesdays and
They won't.
Thursdays.
She doesn't work out with heels. Don't worry.
No, but I will be starting a heels dance, like fun heels dance class. That won't be. It's not going to feel like I'm trying. It's basically I'm balancing the professional side with just like the beginner side with the intermediate side. So it's going to be a little bit of everything. Not too hard, but not too easy either. You know what I mean?
Right. So obviously, it won't be like the Girl Gone Wild video where everybody's wearing stilettos and
With the
jumping
Kazaki
around.
heels,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
No, I mean you wear whatever heel you have at home, and if you don't have heels, you can still dance. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not there,
exactly.
so I can't give you a note. I'm not going to tell you what are you doing. But if you record yourself and send me the clip, I'm going to have to give you notes on it.
And what kind of music do you like to work out to?
Well, I usually love house music because I keep a nice tempo, consistent tempo, and it,
My
keeps
girl.
the heart rate up. Sometimes I'll use hip hop, but it's too much of like sometimes it's just too slow, and the energy is not up enough. But on social media, I kind of stick to house music because one, they can't really block me. When I use pop music, it's just like too dramatic. They're constantly blocking, they're taking you off. You don't have the rights, and it's like, okay, fine. So I just avoid it altogether. That's why I don't do any like playlists. Like I know a lot of fans are like, "Oh, play Madonna." It's like, no, boo, I can't play Madonna. Just because I work for her does not mean they allow me to play her music. Like it doesn't work that way. So
and plus, it's very on brand. You're from New York, so house music is.
I don't need. Yeah, it's fine. I'm happy with you.
You've danced enough. You've danced enough to Madonna. You don't need to do it when you're working out. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, but I like to like make. I know fans like to join on and they have requests, but I really can't make those requests because there's no way. It's not possible.
Well, so tell everyone when you're doing these. You said Tuesdays and Thursdays?
Tuesdays and Thursdays, 12 o'clock Pacific Coast time. So LA time, 12 noon, 3 p.m. New York, and Europe, I don't know. Sorry, guys.
It's an evening European workout.
If you want a late night workout, go ahead.
Well, and you post them to your account so people can rewatch them out.
I post them to my account, and exactly. You could rewatch them. You could, I have on my IGTV. I have old workouts from the beginning of quarantine that you could watch as well. And there's so many videos. There's enough workouts right now. So if anyone wants to get on one.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Put down the Ben and Jerry's. Cue up a little Marlyn Ortiz on your IG and get hopping.
There's no excuse, and when I say that, I'm talking to myself because I need to shake my ass a little bit more than I have been. Hey guys, I think it's time for my favorite part of the podcast. Is it?
I think it might. All right, so Marlene, we do a little Madonna lightning round question. It's basically off the top of your head, wherever you're at in your Madonna journey right now as we speak. Favorite Madonna song?
Crazy for You.
Favorite Madonna song to work out to?
Fuck! You know what I actually like? Revolver.
Oh, that's a good one.
And then it's up-tempo fun. Yeah.
Favorite Madonna video?
Oh, shit. I think I love Human Nature.
Oh yeah.
in the
Good
box.
call. Yeah. Who
Yeah,
doesn't love that one?
I know.
Favorite Madonna tour, and yes, it can be one of the ones you were on.
I would say it would be Reinvention, not because I was on it, but because she did a lot of the old songs, and
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of like the best of tour, and she
Mhm.
hasn't done that, and I think it was really good. I think
Oh,
overall it was a great show that and that fans loved, and yeah, I think.
yeah.
I
When she
also
sang
love
"Crazy for You"
Confessions.
at
Yeah.
Reinvention, I mean, come on.
Do you know I watched every time she sang that song. I would sit on the side of the stage and watch
Oh.
every single performance. I swear to God.
Yeah, it was, Confessions. I'll agree with you on that one.
Confessions was also a dope one. I love Confessions. I was
Mhm.
supposed to be on Confessions, and I said no to do Tarzan on Broadway because I wanted to have a Broadway experience.
Diversified,
Have a
yeah.
Broadway credit.
Yeah. I felt really bad. I was like, oh my God, I'll never work with her again. No, I really did. I was like, she just banned me from her life forever.
No, you're
But
too good for that.
No, we know that's not true.
no, I know. But at the time, I was like, what am I doing? I was like so pissed off. I was like, it was the hardest fucking decision I had to make, I swear.
I bet. Yeah.
But yeah, Confession was hot and sexy. It was nice.
Yeah.
I liked it.
All right, and last but not least, favorite Madonna look, and it can be from a video, a tour, a photo shoot, whatever.
Fuck. I think, oh man, this is hard. Because I'm trying to think of the looks. Can I give you two?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
No rules. You can do whatever you want.
I really like her short hair look in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
That was really cute just because it was different. What album was that? Was that Cherish? That was around that time,
Like the
right?
blonde bob, like
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was cute. And I loved her Confessions look with the side flip.
little 70s goodness. Who doesn't love
Sassy,
a
yeah, she looked really sexy and sassy. But then I also liked, um, I like her look in Drowned World with the short hair.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I like the Confessions look.
Yeah.
I mean,
One
she
of
has
my
so many
favorites.
looks. I don't really know. I can't remember every
Yeah.
single album. And
One
thing.
of my favorites has always been Goth Donna from the Truth or Dare movie premiere when she was like smoky eye, jet black hair.
Oh yeah, that's hot. Yeah, that's cool.
Marlene, tell all of our listeners once again where they can find you on social media, online, if you have a website, and also keep an eye out for the Madam X tour DVD/presentation because I'm sure it's going to be out soon, right?
Yeah, it'll be out. It'll be out.
Awesome.
I think everything's like screwed up because of COVID, but
I know.
Damn COVID.
There's no way that it won't be released. So,
Yeah.
Well, you can find
It's
me
too
at
good.
Marlyn Ortiz on Instagram, MarlynOrtiz, and also marlynortiz.com. Yes, and I'll be doing my workouts Tuesdays and Thursdays, 12 noon California time, 3 p.m. New York East Coast time. What else? Follow Bumble Burlesque.
Yeah, follow
it
Bumble.
all.
And whenever we are back out on the streets, I will be front row at a Bumble Burlesque show. So hope you will be there.
How
as
you
well.
guys doing? Wait, how long have you been doing this podcast? Is this new?
We've been doing it for a year now. This is our second season.
Season 2.
Season 2. And we actually, we're doing it,
COVID has increased we were like
exactly
bi-weekly, and then COVID came in and we were like, let's just do it every week because we need something to do.
Yeah, smart.
And here we are, and our numbers have gone up, and we've got some amazing listeners and fans. So we're very happy, and we're also very happy that you came on the show today.
Yes, thank you for joining us, Marlyn. I'm so happy that you were able to do this. I've been such a fan of yours for ages. And
Thank you.
I'm glad we got the chance to get to know you, and hope our listeners will reach out and you'll maybe get some new clients out of this too.
Yes,
seriously.
let's go, guys. Let's do it. No, thank you for asking me. I'm sorry for all the schedule changes. It was just like,
Listen,
we know you're busy.
I swear to
You know,
God.
like whether it's like, hey, if someone gave me the chance to be like, okay, you're going to go to Jamaica with Madonna, or you can podcast, I'd be like, sorry, podcast.
Right.
But thanks again, Marlyn.
No problem.
And I want to say thank you to all of our listeners. We appreciate you guys so much, and we look forward to our next episode. You can find us on Instagram at MLVC Podcast. You can also find us online at mlvcpodcast.com. And anywhere and everywhere you listen to podcasts. I actually just found out that we were added to Google Play. So
nice.
We've been on Google Play. Haven't we been on Google Play? I thought we've been telling everybody that we've been on Google Play.
They have a new podcast platform, so we've been added to that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Fancy.
Yeah, so if you're an Android user, you'll be able to find us easier there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So thanks again, Marlyn. And
thank you guys. Thank you for inviting me. And thanks for supporting my boss. This is so cool that you guys do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I told her, I was one of the little beer chat people at the Madam X tour in Philadelphia.
Oh, okay.
And my one thing I wanted to do before I let her get back on stage, I was telling myself, Stefan, don't let her get back up on stage unless you tell her about the podcast. And so she's like, all right, I have to get back to the show. And I was like, oh, Madonna, I have a podcast dedicated all to you. And she's looking at me like, what?
What?
And I gave her my little business card that said MLVC, the Madonna podcast. Yeah. And so she was like, oh, that's so sweet. Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's
so cool. Madonna.
Oh.
But yeah, thanks again, everyone. Thanks, Marlyn. Thanks for joining us.
Guys, yes. Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll talk to you guys later.
Thank
you soon.
Okay,
bye. You too.
Bye. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.